two first-class organizations. I feel like it does something for you when you're in a building and you're looking around and you're like, man, this feels a little different. Did you have that in New York at all?
Most definitely, man. I played for the Connecticut Sun.
Is the Connecticut Sun falling apart? Jonquel Jones's latest revelation has set the WNBA world on fire, and it's got everyone wondering just how deep the issues run. But that's not all. Jones didn't just talk about the Suns' troubles. She stepped up for Caitlin Clark in a way that's shaking up the entire league and exposing Alyssa Thomas and the rest of the bullies. From whispers of unhappy players to shocking details about practices that sound more like gym class than professional prep, the Connecticut Sun's problems may be worse than anyone thought. And Jones, she's ready to pull back the curtain on why some are rumored to jump ship, just like she did.
Definitely a huge disparity, a huge gap between playing for a team that owns an NBA team and is in that arena, and then obviously have been putting their female athletes in their female team first versus, a team where
But that's just one part of this drama. Why did Jones defend Clark? And what does this mean for Thomas and her fiery claims? This isn't just a critique. It's a battle for respect and truth in the WNBA. And Jones is leading the charge. Stay with us as we dive into why one of the league's biggest stars is speaking out and how it could change everything for the Connecticut Sun, Caitlin Clark, and the WNBA itself. Before we break it down, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Are you ready? Let's go.
No one wants to get drafted into a league and it'd be a step down from college.
Why did Jonquel Jones call her time with the Connecticut Sun a step down from college? The answer isn't just shocking. It's a warning for every WNBA team that thinks they can coast on reputation alone. Imagine gearing up for a playoff game, only to find yourself practicing on a court that isn't even regulation size, with a thin divider separating you from a yoga class. Yes, you heard that right. Jonquel Jones revealed that during her time with the Sun, practices were held in a recreational facility where outside activities regularly intruded on professional preparation.
So when I played in the Connecticut Sun, we practiced in the recreational, the tribal facility, because the team is owned by the tribe. And so sometimes there'll be people doing yoga classes and
that's crazy
and different stuff, and we'll be on the court practicing on the full court, the full
during
NBA
your practice
court.
doing that?
Right, and then they'll come in and we'll have to put the divider down,
hell no.
and then we'll start going on a court that was smaller than a high school court. Kid you not, while we're in the playoffs.
They talking about keep it down. We got a yoga class going on over here.
Yeah, and it's you peek your head over the side, and it's three people over there doing downward dog or something crazy, right? You know what I'm saying? So,
this wasn't just a quirky anecdote. It was a glaring sign of how the organization failed to meet even basic professional standards. And the impact? A palpable frustration among players. A feeling that their commitment to excellence was met with second-rate support. It's no wonder that JJ described it as a step down from college, where she once had 24/7 access to top-notch facilities.
I wanted to ask you about just being in New York, right? Because your first time in a market like that, right? Was that just when you got to the city, you're like, okay, I'm about to maybe turn up a little bit here.
Now, let's look at her current experience with the New York Liberty, where the difference is night and day. Backed by NBA-level ownership, the Liberty provides state-of-the-art facilities and an environment that invests in every aspect of player well-being. Players feel seen, supported, and most importantly, respected. She noted that this level of investment isn't just a luxury. It's necessary for the league's growth and the players' sense of pride and motivation.
So then I get to New York and I get to Brooklyn, and obviously we're playing in the Barclays Center, and just Clara Sai and Josai have just really done an amazing job of investing in this team. And if you know the story of the New York Liberty, I think 4 years ago they were playing in Westchester and in a auditorium where they do theater and different stuff like that. And then they bought the team, moved them to Brooklyn, invested in the team, and now we're champions.
And here's where it gets even more interesting. The Liberty's success isn't just about wins on the court. It's about building an organization that attracts and retains top talent. In contrast, the Connecticut Sun seems to be at the start of a mass exodus. Their head coach recently left, and the rumor mill is churning with whispers that several key free agents are looking for the door. Can you blame them? When players are treated like afterthoughts, loyalty becomes a hard sell.
You could check into a facility at 2 o'clock in the morning if you wanted to go get shots up.
Right.
And, no one wants to be able to get to the league and not be able to do that. You have a bad gig, you can't even get into the facilities because they got a concert going on or something crazy like that.
Yoga class.
Shit closed at 9 p.m.
Or a yoga class.
This comparison between the Liberty and the Sun paints a stark picture of the current WNBA landscape. Adapt or get left behind. Jones's critique is more than just a personal gripe. It's a mirror reflecting the reality that not all teams are ready for the league's future. With more eyes on women's basketball and higher expectations from fans and players alike, the stakes have never been higher. And here's why this matters to more than just Connecticut fans. Her story is a warning shot to teams across the WNBA. It's a call to step up and show that their players are worth more than just a spot on a roster. They need real facilities, real support, and a real commitment to excellence. Anything less, and the players and the fans will take notice.
I think that's what it's going to come down to as we continue to get more eyes on us and continue to raise the viewership and the dollars and everything else. Like, these owners and these organizations that aren't willing to fully invest, they're going to either have to sell or step it up.
The irony? The Suns' reluctance to invest might be pushing them further into the shadows, just as the league itself is stepping into the spotlight. For her, the move to New York has been more than just a change of scenery. It's been a shift from compromise to championship culture. But Jones's revelations don't end with her old team's missteps. Next, she turns her attention to a different battlefield, defending Caitlin Clark and exposing the hypocrisy that's been brewing all season. What she said next rocked the league. If you've made it this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. We know watching this video takes some of your time, and we appreciate you. Now back to the action.
You have to be careful when you say like the Fever fans, because I don't think it's the Fever fans. I think it's the people that wanted Caitlin Clark to be a certain type of way and they thought that she was. And so they became Caitlin Clark fans, assuming that. And then they realized like, oh no, she's actually not racist.
Jonquel Jones stepping in to defend Caitlin Clark wasn't just unexpected. It was a moment that flipped the entire narrative on its head. To understand why this was so impactful, we need to revisit Alyssa Thomas's history with Clark, which has been simmering since the start of the season. Thomas's skepticism of Clark's potential in the WNBA was no secret. Early on, she cast doubt on whether Clark's collegiate dominance would translate to the professional level, despite Clark proving herself as one of the most electric players in recent memory. But it didn't stop there. The tension escalated during the season when, on August 28th, Thomas delivered a body check to Clark that left fans in disbelief. The referees? Silent. No flagrant foul, just an uncalled, rough play that spoke volumes.
Take another look here at the heavy contact.
Thomas's actions off the court were just as pointed. During a heated playoff series against the Fever, she accused Clark's fanbase of being racially motivated. This claim turned heads and stirred controversy, positioning Clark as not only an on-court competitor, but a target in a battle far larger than basketball.
Honestly, it's been a lot of nonsense. I think in my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base. We had her face on a serious matter that happened in this world, and it's unacceptable, honestly.
Enter Jonquel Jones. While many players would stay silent to avoid the crossfire, Jones stepped up. Drawing from her own experiences and observations, she challenged Thomas's broad accusations. "We can't paint an entire fan base as problematic based on the actions of a few," she argued, emphasizing that Clark's supporters, like any group, contain both good and bad actors, but should not be defined by their worst elements. Jones's voice resonated precisely because it came from someone with championship credibility and the respect of her peers. Jones's defense of Clark was significant because it cut through the noise. It wasn't just a statement of support, it was a reminder that while the league is growing, it needs to guard against harmful generalizations. The WNBA's path forward requires more nuanced discussions, and Jones made it clear that throwing blanket accusations does nothing but stoke division.
They wanted to latch on to Caitlin Clark and then use her as, this fuel to be able to be the way that they want it to be.
But why did Jones take such a bold stance? The answer lies in her commitment to fairness and the integrity of the game. She defended Clark's fans by stating that she hadn't experienced the kind of racism that Thomas mentioned, subtly challenging the narrative and calling for a more balanced approach to criticism. Jones's stand isn't just about protecting one player. It's about fostering an environment where players are respected and discussions are grounded in truth, not exaggeration. By speaking out, Jones showed that she's not only a champion on the court, but a leader willing to advocate for fairness. The impact was immediate. It signaled a shift in how players use their platforms. But this was only the beginning. What Jones said next laid bare the double standards in the league and why it's time for a new era of accountability.
They want her to be the representation of their racism and and, you know, like their view on the world, and she's not like that.
Jones's defense of Caitlin Clark was powerful, but her pointed rebuttal of Alyssa Thomas's accusations brought a new level of clarity to the conversation. Thomas, who had accused Clark's fan base of being racially biased during the playoff series with the Fever, set the stage for a controversy that blurred the lines between fair critique and unfounded generalization. In an environment where comments can fuel narratives that spread like wildfire, Jones's response was refreshing and necessary. Unlike Thomas's sweeping statement, Jones aimed to bring balance and nuance. "I've never experienced the kind of racism that was suggested," she noted, challenging the broad accusations that painted an entire fan base as problematic. For Jones, this was not about discrediting Thomas's experiences, but about pushing back against statements that divide rather than unite.
Have you ever had any encounters with things like that since you've been in the WNBA?
No, never.
Why did Jones's words resonate so strongly? Because she wasn't speaking as an outsider. She was a finals MVP and one of the league's most respected players. Her defense was not just an opinion, it was a credible call for fair treatment. Jones highlighted that while bad behavior can be found in any fan base, elevating isolated incidents to define an entire group creates unnecessary conflict. This wasn't just about the fans, it was about integrity. Jones pointed out that broad accusations, especially without substantiated backing, can erode trust within the league. She effectively exposed a double standard. While some players can make controversial statements and move on without facing much pushback, others are subjected to intense scrutiny for far less. Jones's message was clear. The league's future depends on its ability to foster an environment where discussions can happen without descending into damaging generalizations. The implications for the league are significant. When players of Jones's caliber speak up, it forces the entire community, from teammates to management, to reconsider how narratives are shaped and sustained. For Thomas, this public challenge from a peer brought her claims under a more critical spotlight, showing that not everyone in the league agrees with divisive rhetoric.
And I hope that the WNBA gets it in order and make sure that they have like things in place.
But Jones's rebuttal did more than challenge a single player's narrative. It signaled a shift. High-profile players are no longer content to stay silent when a conversation risks spiraling out of control. They're ready to defend truth and demand more balanced perspectives. This could mark the start of a cultural change within the WNBA, one where players lead with responsibility, and the league encourages transparency and respect. Jones's bold stand serves as a reminder that in the WNBA, leadership isn't just about what you do on the court. It's about speaking out when it matters most. And as more players find their voices, the league may see a shift towards stronger, unified communication and away from unchecked rivalries. But what comes next? The WNBA's response, or lack thereof, will be telling.
A lot of really good fans, whether they've been fans for 20 plus years or whether they're new fans in our league.
Her bold move to defend Caitlin Clark and challenge Alyssa Thomas's accusations wasn't just about one incident, it sent ripples through the WNBA, highlighting deeper issues in player dynamics and league culture. What does this mean for a league that's striving to find its voice in a crowded sports landscape? First, it shifts the way players engage with each other and their platforms. Historically, silence or vague responses were often preferred to avoid controversy. But Jones's approach sets a new precedent. Players who once hesitated to speak out may now feel emboldened to take a stand, especially when it comes to defending teammates or advocating for fair discussions. This could foster a culture of accountability where not just the fans but players themselves push for truth and integrity. Second, Jones's call for balance in narratives pushes the league to reconsider how it manages and responds to internal conflicts. When a finals MVP openly questions the legitimacy of sweeping claims, it demands attention. For Alyssa Thomas, this means that her words will likely face more scrutiny moving forward. And for the WNBA, it could mean rethinking how it addresses disputes that risk inflaming tensions.
I think continuing to uplift this league in a very positive light is the best thing that we can do, because there are so many great players, there's so many great teams, there are so many positive storylines that can be written and celebrated, and for me, that's why I became a fan of this league, is these people were my idols. I grew up wanting to be like them.
Jonquel's stand also shines a light on the role of leadership within the league. It's a powerful reminder that leadership isn't just reserved for the court. Players with influence are realizing that how they use their voices off the court can be just as impactful as any game-winning shot. This shift could usher in an era where stars don't just compete for championships, but also advocate for the league's long-term integrity and inclusivity. The big question? Whether the WNBA will embrace this new wave of player-led advocacy or shy away from it. One thing is certain, Jones has raised the bar, and it's up to the rest of the league to decide how they'll respond. Jonquel Jones didn't just critique the Connecticut Sun or defend Caitlin Clark, she redefined what it means to be a leader in the WNBA. Her willingness to confront divisive narratives and demand fairness has left a mark that the league can't ignore. This isn't just about one incident. It's about how the WNBA moves forward from here.
Continuing to uplift and, represent this league in a positive way is the best thing that we can do.
For fans, Jones's actions were a breath of fresh air. They showed that even in a league filled with intense rivalries and fierce competition, there are players who will stand up for what's right, even if it means taking a personal risk. For the league, it's a challenge to foster an environment where these discussions can take place openly and respectfully. The WNBA has a choice. Support this kind of transparency and unity, or risk losing credibility as its stars take the reins on difficult topics. And for the players, Jones's stand is a rallying call. It's a reminder that leadership is about more than just putting points on the board. It's about speaking out when it matters, pushing for a culture that values honesty, and ensuring that no one's voice is drowned out by exaggerated narratives. If the WNBA embraces this shift, it could signal a new era, one where the league isn't just defined by highlight reels, but by its players' commitment to fostering a positive, inclusive atmosphere. One thing is clear. Jonquel Jones has sparked a conversation that's bigger than basketball, and the league is at a turning point. Now the question is, who's ready to take it to the next level? Thank you, JJ, for speaking your truth. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.